look, we're going to go through all kinds of different aspects of niche marketing, an extremely focused version of marketing. We're going to talk about what it is, give some great examples. We're going to interview 3 awesome advisors who are really great at marketing, really great at going deeper with their niche. So let's dive into it. Travis and Drew, welcome, guys.
Hey, John.
Glad to be here, John.
So, Jen, if you could make me presenter here, I'll dive into the presentation. But I tell you, this is one of my favorite topics. So much so, I've written about it in this book here. If you don't have it, let me know. I think all of you have it, but there's a whole chapter in the book dedicated to this and how important and how powerful this kind of marketing can be. So, this really came up with the theme of these webinars, Travis, that you can spray and pray in marketing, meaning you can do a random outreach and pray for your results, or you can be very targeted and harvest big-time results. So what does that mean to you, Travis?
Well, having Drew here with me, I can remember when we first started, my man, we did a lot of spraying and praying. There was just throwing all kinds of things up, all kinds of different events, gift ideas, educational opportunities, social things, and we would probably do it with anybody. I mean, it didn't matter who it was. Oh, you'll attend? Great. Let's take that on. And the phone book, that's back when we could do the old AB, phone calls as far as cold calling. I mean, it was just, we'd go trolling. Remember we used to do that? We'd go out and venture to businesses just to kind of walk around. But John, the spraying and praying, there was no aim. It was just, what can we do and how much can we do it? Just hoping some of it would work. And that was stressful, to say the least. It was not efficient at all. And so, I think back to our early career, I don't think we regret that we did it. But I think as you mature as an advisor and your practice starts to mature and you start to recognize, look, I probably gravitate towards working more of these kind of clients, and I want more of these clients. Plus, you start to value your time and what you're worth a lot more. And that's why we found, Target and Harvest by far is the most efficient product and productive way of marketing.
It really is. And I tell you, the best practices, this is what they're doing. So we get that all the time, what's working out there. And it's really this. It's getting focused on your efforts. It's targeting with a specific segment of people. That's really the definition of niche marketing. It's focusing on your segment. What's that small piece of pie of the marketplace that you are best suited to help? So we're going to go through some of the benefits of niche marketing. We're going to take you through some examples before we get through our interviews with the 3 top practices here. You're doing a great job. So there's lots of benefits to marketing. A lot of these tie together that we'll go through. But I think above all else, we see that when you target it on a certain segment of clients, you can really enhance the relationship with these people. When you get really good at what you do and you deliver value to a small number of people, it can really bring value to them. It can really hone your expertise where you can be really, really good at dealing with that one segment. And I think there's a lot of efficiencies, too, in your practice where whatever you figure out that works for one client, it might work for other clients and other prospects. Now, I'll give you a great example. There's a really good practice, had a couple of executive clients at the same company. They both have the same conundrum when it came to some option decisions that needed to be made. And you know what? They figured it out and honed their expertise with one practice. They brought a lot of value to that that client, brought a lot of value to that client, enhanced the relationship. Then guess what? It was pretty efficient to bring similar solutions to that next person. And then guess what? There are other executives on the same floor had the same issues, the same problems, and it was very easy to become known. So really we're talking about being a bigger fish in a smaller pond. It really can cut out your competition. You can be a lot more visible. It's easier to become known when there's a smaller group of people or a smaller target, especially the more specific you can get. it's a lot easier to get referrals and kind of grow that word of mouth. So much connectivity with all these different benefits. And these are some of the reasons why these top practices do so well when it comes to this type of marketing. But Travis and Drew, what do you guys see? What's the top benefits you see when it comes to practices that are leveraging niche marketing?
Well, one, you can streamline a lot of processes if you're fishing out of the same pond each time, John. So you're going to create actually more time and probably better results because you're going to be able to streamline your financial planning process, your advice solutions process, probably a lot of the same investment research or time you have to put in is going to be duplicatable, and it helps you kind of get scale. And then if you get, situations where, there's a change in control or like a WARN notice mass layoff, you're going to be able to generate a lot more referrals and net inflows if something happens at one of those companies, in that example, where you're really into. Also, it kind of helps streamline the message in your meeting. So, you have clients in similar circumstances, same employer, same benefits. You're going to be able to kind of have your review meeting buttoned up tight and know exactly what the hot buttons are going to be every time. So you're really, by spending time on the front end to create all the systems for the niches, you're going to save yourself more time on the back end.
Very well said. I think, John, the other thing I think that comes to mind, I apologize, I know you're in there, is that, a lot of practices aren't like Drew. Drew loves marketing, and he's really good at it. Out of our group, he probably has the largest concentration, or at least in the top 3 of $1 million clients. He brings on 20, 25 million of new money every year from new clients. So he loves marketing. But if that love is not there, or that love has been lost, what I found is when people start engaging in specific niches that they enjoy working with, for whatever reason, it could be the type of people, it could be that industry, it could be they think a lot alike. I see people get fired up about niche marketing. I see that spark, come up when they know they're going to be trying to work with people they absolutely enjoy. And so that's the other thing to think about is niche marketing is a lot of practice, at least when we initially work with them, if they're not passionate or very good at marketing, this is one way to get really good at it in a short period of time and really just by being more focused.
And it's really so easy to get referred on a very specific, topic or area. Like that example with the decisions on the stock options, or maybe somebody's looking to retire, they're not sure how. Whatever it might be in your specific niche, the reasons, the value you bring people, the reason they get connected to the next one, it happens so much faster, so much easier, massively efficient, and a lot easier to become known. So tons of benefits there, which we'll hear more about in the interviews here. But let's talk about some examples because some of you have niches that you're working. Some of you want to add an additional niche to give you another pond to fish in. Some of you might be struggling to really find what it might be. There might be something there that's right in front of you that you can't see with clients or your natural market. So here's a whole bunch of examples that we put together that can maybe spark what a potential niche might be if you're looking to add more. So we see this a lot as specific industry, like if you're in Texas or Louisiana, maybe the oil and gas industry, maybe the medical profession could be a niche that you work in. Specific companies is really big. I mean, we've seen practices make their entire career off of helping people that work for one specific company. Can be a really big niche. You can get really good at their benefits. Retirees is a great one. And what a great segment to capture, whether it's people retiring or people that have their retirement assets, they need help managing it, and lasting retirement. Widows is certainly a segment. LGBTQ is a great niche. Divorcees is a great niche. We see some people having success in. Young professionals is one that works. Clubs, like a country club, maybe having that in common with people. You're all part of this small group that's part of an exclusive club. Same with association, same kind of mix where you've got a group of people with similar likes and similar interests. Business owners is a great one. We see some that just specialize in owners in general. Some might specialize in a specific kind of business owner. Like where I lived in North Carolina when I had my practice, some of my best clients, they own car dealerships. And I started work with one, then a second, and I'll end up working with pretty much all of them in town here. Could be a specific segment within a niche. And then any commonalities you might have with people, whether it's a hobby or an interest that you might have, like, if there's wine is an area people might enjoy. You get together about that. It could be a sporting event, a sporting team everyone likes, or people in the same section where you have season tickets. It's your favorite sporting event. These are all examples that have really worked. And Travis, this isn't all of them. This is just a small list of examples, but there's certainly more beyond this that we've seen.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is, an exercise that we use is the top shelf client exercise. And then we also look at the referral tree, but what we're asking people really to do is when they start examining their best clients is what are those commonalities with those best clients? And then based on those commonalities, we start grouping people over. So if you've never thought about the niches that are in your practice, that's a great exercise to go through because you're going to be able to see, I bet you find 3 to 5, most mature practices with 200 clients or more, they're going to find those. And so it'll be interesting for our participants today as they go back and do that and examine, what are the other categories that's going to pop up here just by going through your own existing client base and trying to uncover what are those segments out there that you're already working with.
And that's a healthy exercise to do regularly, that top shelf client exercise that we have at D2. Some of you may not have done it since you started with D2 or maybe not since the last D2 Live event that we've had. It can really help to just take another look because there might be 2 clients that have some kind of commonality that you didn't see before. Sometimes a new client being added to the book might create a new commonality, may create a new niche opportunity. So there's opportunities in front of you. There always are. It's just putting on the right lens and seeing them. And I also think that some of these that might be tied to you personally or your natural market can also create an opportunity, which we'll hear with one of our guest speakers here today, how that can kind of turn into a niche. So they're there. And we look forward to helping you do that through all the exercises and workbooks that we have at D2. Now let's go through an example, Travis, of going from a wide range down to very specific. And as we've said here, the more narrow your target, the more specific you can be, the easier it is to become known with this group and the easier it is to get to the next person in that group. So a lot of you advisors, you're personally trying to work with clients that have 7 figures or more, $1 million or more in investable assets, which there's 5.9 million Americans that have 7 figures to invest. That's a pretty wide group. Now you narrow that down a little bit more that, hey, I want to go deeper in the medical profession. I have a client that works there. We're able to really help them out. It's very specific. Then you can go to another sector and say, you know what, surgeons are really great clients in that segment. And gosh, in fact, some of our best clients happen to be orthopedic surgeons. And you can go a step further that, gosh, I can focus on the orthopedic surgeons of this practice or maybe of this hospital system. And we've had one advisor even taken another level than that and say, you know what, the Hispanic orthopedic surgeons at this specific place, that's who my target is. That's exactly who I'm trying to work with. And there's a smaller group. They become very known. And gosh, it's easy to dominate and be that big fish in that little pond. So what's your thoughts, Travis, on just how to narrow this and how to get down to that smaller specific group?
Well, about 15 years ago, I worked with a consultant named Randy Schwann, and we collaborated on several things. And he talked about, it wasn't his concept, I just remember him bringing it up. It's someone else. It's called the ladder of ambiguity. And it's exactly this. You start off with something very, very general. Hey, I just want to work with people who have $1 million or more. Okay, like you said, there's 5.9 million people. And the whole theory is you get more and more specific, the more and more you can become relevant as you get more specific. In other words, I can establish a lot more relevancy and be more relatable when I finally get to Hispanic orthopedic surgeons with XYZ practice. And I think that's what we're talking about with marketing. And it goes back to that, am I going to spray and pray versus target and harvest? Spraying and praying is the 7 figures to invest, right? That's the big audience out there. That's the ocean, so to speak. And then now we're all the way down to this really small pond with that Hispanic orthopedic surgeon. So that's really the further, the smaller the body of water in this analogy we're using, the better. I mean, what do you think, Drew?
Well, I think anytime you narrow your focus, each time you narrow down, you're also cutting out potential other competitors. So, when you start out, a mile wide at like the number 1 bullet point there, you're going against all other competitors. But by the time you get down to the 6th bullet point, you're really in a narrow field where there's only 1 or 2 probably people truly competing with you, and it's going to make it easier to find out what are their weaknesses, what are their strengths,
right.
How do you go in and battle them out. John, I ran the math while you guys were talking about this. Given the numbers of how many people have 7 figures in investable assets, given how many Series 7 licensed people there are, that should be $39 million clients per advisor. And what we know at Ameriprise is
not even close.
It's not even close. There's a lot that maybe have 1
right,
or
the
none.
average is like 3 to 5.
So there's a huge world out there that once you can navigate the gate and kind of keep getting more focus, you're going to win, and it's going to be not even close.
Yeah, and the other supporting data on these people are not hearing from their advisor, and that the other supporting data, the independent industry research that I got my hands on, that's how I found out there were 5.9 million Americans, but 1 out of 5 of them are planning to leave their advisor this year. So the closer you are to your niche, the more you're known in that area, it's going to be much easier for those people to get connected with you. You want to be thought of first. And we'll hear about some of this in the examples and from our guest speakers, but you want to be thought of first with this group as the go-to person, as the expert that helps the people in your specific niche.